Good afternoon everyone, I'm Caroline in Leeds in West Yorkshire. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is a video mostly about cross stitch and knitting, although there will be little bits of quilting and books today as well. I'm in Leeds in West Yorkshire in the UK. I can be found around the internet on @Caroline A. on Twitter and Instagram, which is mostly where I can be found. And Caroline is spelt with a K. And I have a blog, which is mostly these days the repository for the show notes for these episodes, and that's that's carolinescorner.blogspot.com. Anyway, how are you all keeping? It's since I last spoke to you at New Year, we've gone back into lockdown here in the UK. So currently I'm not doing very much, apart from because I work in education, I have to go into the office one day a week, send material out in the post for our students. But apart from that, I'm just pottering around at home, trying to stop going stir crazy. Having a load of stitching and knitting and other hobbies that you do at home definitely helps with that one, and not killing my kids, obviously. Anyway, I'm going to do things a little differently this week because I have a knitting finish, so I'm going to start with the knitting. Right, so my finish is my cardigan. It is the oops, got some thread on it. It's the Incunabala cardigan by Carrie Westerman. Incunabula, sorry, get it printed right, which she tells me in the book, this thing of paper, which is where the pattern comes from, is books or pamphlets printed before 1501. Highly recommend this thing of paper. It's got some beautiful patterns in. And this is the cardigan. It's cropped, it's got 3/4 length sleeves. Cable detail up the front and back. I've knit this as sort of a summer weight cardigan to wear over dresses, and at the moment we've got snow and temperatures around freezing, which is why I'm not wearing it today. I've decided to go with something a bit warmer. So I started this July last year. When you last saw it, I just started the second sleeve. So in the last month I finished the sleeve, done the neckband and button bands, put the buttons on, and very, very pleased with how it's come out. It's knitting West Yorkshire Spinners Blue Face Leicester double knitting, and it's sort of a navy blue. I don't know how well that's coming up. I bought my buttons just before Christmas on a rare trip into Leeds, because I figured lockdown was the next lockdown was probably coming, and I wanted to get into the haberdasheries, so they come from Samuel Taylor's in Leeds, before they were forced to close again, and while I could still choose some buttons in the flesh. So yes, I'm very pleased with this. I think I'll get a lot of wear out of it in the summer, spring and summer. I have a particular dress I know it'll go over, which is what I'm looking forward to wearing it with. I'll try and get some photos taken at some point and add them to this video, probably at the end. So yeah, so one cardigan down, which I'm very pleased with. Otherwise, I've just been working on my shawl. and my socks. So the shawl is the Sprite's Fen shawl by Helen Stewart from the Shawl Society Volume 2. So that was three years ago, I think. She didn't do one last year. No, probably 4 years ago. I lose track. I know she's going to do another one this year. She said in one of her podcasts before Christmas. And here is my progress. Make sure I've got this the right way around. This is the front. So it's a semicircular pie shawl. I'm doing the lace weight version. There you go. And on the pattern, I've just done the first of the eyelets in the eyelets section to give you an idea of where I am. This is being knit in Natural Born Dyers, blue 100 lace, lustrous lace in the blue bottle colourway, and the yarn is 55% superwash blue lace Leicester and 45% silk, and it has a beautiful sheen to it. When I last showed you it, I'd just done a set of increases, so I was up here where the I put a progress keeper, and I've now, if you've ever done any of Helen Stewart's patterns, you'll know she does, she gives you how far you are through the pattern down the side, and I have just passed the 40% mark, but the rows are starting to get quite long now. I think I'm on my second last set of increases. There we go. I think the colour is going to blow out quite a bit, but it's got a beautiful shades of blue and purple and green in there. Beautiful. Very much loving knitting on this. I think you can kind of pick up the shine on the yarn a bit there, which is absolutely gorgeous. So I've been knit on that this week, and next week, because I don't have a garment on the go now, I've finished my cardigan, I decided I'd do one of the next pair of socks that I'm working on, which are my Cliff Walk socks, again by Helen Stewart. This was from volume 2 of the Handmade Sock Society. She's just launched season 4, so naturally I've signed up for that. And I haven't got very far yet. I've just got the ribbing done on it on my first sock. So there we go. These are being knit in some yarn from the Knitting Goddess. It's 4-ply British woolen nylon. And this is from a yarn club she ran back in 2016. It's called Back to the Discworld, and this colourway is God of Evolution, which I'm really liking how it's knitting up. Not quite so contrasty stripes as some of the ones I've had. So yeah, so I'm going to finish the first sock on this pair in my garments, given I'm not going anywhere to do any travel knitting at the moment. So we'll get those moved on. And that's it for knitting. You're all caught up with where I am. So we shall move on to cross stitch. Last time I filmed, I was about to do my last night's stitching on Mistress L's sampler by Lauren Sawyer, of Forget-Me-Nots on Stitches. This was a class I had taken back in I think it was 2013 with the ladies at Hanging by a Thread in London, a shop that's unfortunately now no longer with us. This is the complete sampler. This is the fur. You start here and then this is the bottom. And I got a little more progress on it and got the number rows done, 2 little bunnies stitched, and I'm currently, when I put it down, I was working on the Montenegrin round the numbers. There is quite a bit to go, as you can see from the length of the fabric. Obviously, because this was a class, I received a kit, so I'm not sure what the fabric is off the top of my head, but the threads are all either silks, a Vera Soie, or Gentle Art sampler threads. Lauren has always had a fabulous eye for colour and what works together. So there we go. So yeah, there was just one more night on that one. That was New Year's Eve. And then on January the 1st, I had a new start, which was Heather M. Jardine by Hands Across the Sea Samplers. This sampler was given as a free gift for those doing the Anne Morrison stitch along, and I have Anne Morrison. Obviously not started her yet. One of the reasons I bought Anne Morrison was because I wanted this sampler. So in January, there's my progress. In January I did the top alphabet, and I am currently working on the bottom alphabet, the second of the alphabets. This is going to be a gift for somebody, which is why I wanted it. And as such, I'm working on this as my focus piece, my monthly focus piece. So this is the one that's getting worked on every month until it's finished at the moment. I'm stitching it on 40 count light mocha from Zweigart, and I have using silks from my stash. So where I had the call for a Vera Soie, I'm using that. Where I don't, I pulled the DMC and then went through my stash of a Vera Soie, needlepoint ink, and Gloriana until I got suitable replacements. So these are my silks. So say there's one Gloriana in there, the dark blue. The rest are either needlepoint ink or a Vera Soie. My colourway. My floss tag is from Pretty Little Keepers by Hazel on Facebook. Hazel was kind enough to send me a second one last month. Happy mail. So that's up those threads. And the artwork this time is by Frances MacDonald. This one is by her sister Mary MacDonald. The MacDonald sisters were part of a group at Glasgow School of Art who were very influential. Margaret actually married Charles Rennie Mackintosh. Both women were fabulous embroiderers as well as very accomplished artists, and I grew up looking at their work in the Glasgow museums when we lived up there. So thank you very much, Hazel. I really appreciated the gift. So yes, so my goal for this month on Heather is to finish this alphabet and take the borders all the way down to the bottom. So I haven't got that far to go now on this alphabet, and then that'll be on, and I'll move on to another project for this month. Hoping to get Heather finished by May, really. So the rest of my January stitching time was spent working on an open heart from the drawn thread. I have had this chart in my stash since it came out in 2002. A very good friend kitted it up for me and sent me it. So it was definitely well overdue starting. I started it last September for Sampler September and didn't get very far. All I got done last September was this bit down the side here and those hearts. So my goal for January on this piece was to just finish the top section, which I got done. And it's looking absolutely gorgeous. It was hard to put it away, but needs must. All I want to do when I get a whip out this year is make substantial progress on whatever I'm working on, so I can look back and see what I've done and actually see that I've made real progress on stuff, even if I don't get them finished. So I'm very pleased with how this top section's gone. There's quite a bit of work, but as always, Cynthia's instructions in her charts are impeccable and make it really easy and really fun to stitch. So this is being stitched in a needle pointing silks. And a nice muted palette of light roses, aquas and mauves, as well as the cream. And the called for fabric was 34 count Cafe au Lait, which I can't remember what I've got. I think the kit came from Elegant Stitch, so it might be their Elegant Bean fabric, but don't quote me on that. I really can't remember, and there wasn't a note with the kit. So really, really pleased with how far I got on with that one. It was lovely to stitch on one of Cynthia's big samplers again. It's been a while since I've done that. So that took me to the end of January. So my new start for February was Summer Bird from Heart in Hand. I just stitched on this on the 1st of February. A reasonable amount of progress. I'm not upset about that. This will be the third of the birds. I have Winter Bird finished. I don't know, need to fully finish him. There is a couple of snowflake buttons to go on. Winter. And spring is a work in progress. This is what spring will look like when it's done. So I don't have too much further to go on spring. I've just got to finish this big egg. That's where the bulk of the stitching is on the nest. And then that shall be done. So when it comes up in my rotation, that one will just get worked on till it's finished. And then just autumn to go to have the set. So these are all being stitched on 32 count summer khaki. I'm using the Call for Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Art. That's it. Oh no, I substituted the Weeks Dye Works. It calls for brick, and I've substituted Crescent Colours that's about the same colour as the DMC, which is the colour used in the flower. But we'll worry about that when we get there, eh? So yes, so from the 2nd I've been working on Heather Jardine. And so for Heather, I want to get to the stage where I've finished all the alphabets and I've taken the border down to the bottom. I'm actually making Heather into a birth sampler, so I'm going to have to probably add an extra row at the bottom. So we shall see how that pans out, but I think that's well within my capabilities. So there was a little bit of stash enhancement to get me through January. First up, because of course we, as instructed by Brenda and Laura, we must buy all the Blackbird. I don't quite buy them all, but I do like to try and get the books when I can. So I picked up Winds of Autumn. I think the books are seriously good value for money when you think you get 12 designs for 25 quid. And when you think how much a single Blackbird chart can cost, it's definitely worth buying the book. So I got mine from Peakside Needleworks, and as we know, nothing can travel alone. I also got Winter Rose Manor from Brenda Gervais, which I've had on my wish list since Farm Girl showed it to us after her retreat last year, year before, because I love that one. So I have those two. And then just yesterday I got an order from Fobbles in the post. I have had Sarah Casey Unwin on my wish list for quite some time. I can't remember who showed it, whether it was Brenda and Laura, or more likely, given it's got a red house, Carol Saltbox Stitcher. But yeah, so I acquired that, and I also got some fabric, some more 40 count light mocha, because I got a large cut last year and I've got through quite a bit of it, so this is just an off cut that Bev had on the website, so it's not quite a fat half, but still it's 21 inches by 33, so I can either get a sampler on that, or I can probably get cut up into bits when I need 40 count. But it's nice. I like light mocha. It's a nice neutral for things. Right, the only other things that have been happening, there's been some quilting. There has been real progress on my Name of the Rose quilt. I have started putting it together. These are two of the blocks. They need another bit adding that I've done. These are part of the central panel, and I've got two sections of two of the four sections for the central panel done. Quite see, there you go. That's one corner. And the other corner. Loving how it's coming together. These fabrics are all by Libs Elliott from her Greatest Hits range she did, and are looking gorgeous together. And I need to crack on and get it finished, because the next mystery quilt, I got my first parcel from the Modern Quilt Club, which is who I'm getting them through. So the mystery quilts are by Sheila Christensen, who is at Mystery Quilter on Instagram. Lisa of the Modern Quilt Club here is the distributor for the UK. And I'm doing the Sphene colourway, which is all nice blues and greens. This is all Prism by Juicy Juicy, and the linen is by Maykoa. Apparently, according to Lisa, this has proved to be her most popular colourway ever for a mystery quilt. Name of the Rose, I did the large version. For this one, I'm doing the small because so this is so you get a load of pre-cut. You get a box with pre-cut pieces. Isn't that pretty? So this has got 3 of the fabrics that we would use. That's the linen. And some of the other. There we go. I am really looking forward to putting this one together, but I do need to finish Name of the Rose off first. But, you know, I can see it coming together, and have really enjoyed. That's definitely been a lockdown project. Has the quilting. The rest of the family play D&D on a Sunday afternoon, and I get my sewing machine out. And the other thing I've been doing in January is reading. I've been actually managed to get 7 books finished this month. Admittedly, 3 of them were holdovers from the end of last year. There was the Anne Bronte biography that I told you about in the last video. I was also listening to Anne's Bronte's A Tenant of Wildfell Hall on the wonderful Craftlit podcast. She's just released her first episode for her latest book. She's doing Northanger Abbey, which I'm looking forward to. It's not one of it's not one of the Jane Austens that I go back to a lot, but I'm interested to see what what Heather has to say about it. Catherine Morland is the heroine. Anyway, my favourite book that I did read last month was this one. It's called Business as Usual by Jane Oliver and Anne Stafford, and has been reprinted by Handheld Press, who are a niche publisher reprinting some middlebrow fiction, amongst other things. Business as Usual, I think, has been one of their most popular books. It's not a heavy read. Jane Oliver and Anne Stafford went on to do a lot of writing for Mills and Boon, which was a exclusively romance publisher here in the UK. It's an epistle. It's in letters. Sorry, my tongue's just gone. Novel. It was written in 1933, and it's about Hilary, who's just got engaged but then decides she's going to move to London for a year to work and earn her own living before she marries her rather, you get the impression, very staid and respectable surgeon fiance. It's interesting because you only get Hilary's letters in this, so you don't get the responses and you don't get what she's responding to. She gets a job in a big department store, in the book department and in the library. I understand the department store is based on his Selfridges in London, which is not one I know particularly well, but would have been the equivalent. We had our own equivalent here in Leeds. It was called Schofield's. then yeah, so it tells the story of her year in London and what she got up to, what she did with people, how she progressed in her job. Yeah, and it's highly recommended if you don't want anything too heavy. At the moment, I gobbled it up in a couple of nights. It was if you like Persephone books and books like Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day or E.M. Delafield's Diary of a Provincial Lady, you will like this. So highly recommended, business as usual. Right, then I think that's everything I've got, because with it actually managing to record within a month, I'd had hoped to record last month, but I wanted to finish the cardigan off before I did. So I'm going to wrap up now because we need to drag the kids out for a walk. They've not left the house all week. And I will hopefully see you at the beginning of March. So stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, do all that stuff, and I will see you then. Bye bye.